to go. Hello and welcome to a very special and weird Gooners podcast, season 6, episode 44, I believe. Owen, I don't know if this is going to work very well or not. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you, Mike. For probably regrettably, I can hear you.
Okay, because I am sitting in the middle of this big open space that we like to call the home of football. It's not the carpet, but it is Highbury, and it is a little chilly, but very, very sentimentally warm here. And I'm
Wait. Just before you continue, please tell me that you are not segueing into a sponsor advertisement for Manscaped like every other fucking Arsenal podcast in the world.
No, we're not doing Manscaped. This is the clock end behind me here. This is the clock end of Highbury. And that's my microphone.
If you want to keep your cock end nice and tidy, sorry, Mike, go ahead.
That would be the North Bank. Are you still able to hear me? I'm sorry. This is very unprofessional, but I just pulled out the microphone and I pulled out a couple of other things in the middle of Highbury. And so it's going to be the theme of the podcast is that we're pulling things out. But it's been a fun trip so far, and it's only going to get more fun on Friday when you arrive.
Mm-hmm. How many days have you been over there so far, Mike?
Got here on Monday morning, so this would technically be day 5 or so. I've adjusted to the time. I have not adjusted to the fact that I'm still a Yank.
Not a
people
real
don't.
fan.
People don't. I'm not a real fan. They don't love that over here. Did go to I had a contest tonight, which I thought I was going to lose extraordinarily so at the 12 pins tonight, where I tweeted out that Elliot from Arsenal Vision and I were going there for a couple of drinks, and I felt when the first person came up to me and said, "Where's your bell?" And says, "Where's Owen?" I said, "Okay, so we're winning now."
Mm-hmm.
It's 1-0. It's like when Crawley Town takes an early lead against Manchester United in the third round of the FA Cup. Surely 94,000 people will come in and slobber all over Elliot, and then that guy was it, and he was enough for me. I mean, I'm not complaining, but yeah, it was a huge victory for us tonight. We're the best
podcast, and yeah, for sure.
We're the biggest podcast that had a member at the 12 pins unannounced, unexpectedly on a Saturday where there was no Arsenal football, between 5 and 6 o'clock p.m. watching Chelsea play Brentford. That's the prize that we won.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, you're relatively seemingly overwhelmed by the bombardment from our fan base that you've had since you've been there. Imagine what I'm going to be like when I get there, because obviously,
oh my God,
I'm the A side in this.
The guy told me that he is just using me to get to you.
Yeah, I've seen the video. Yeah,
he was Irish, and I asked him, "Are you also Amish?" Because I love butter, and he said no. So that was the end of the conversation, but I still won. So
yeah, and let's talk about the elephant in the room. And when I say the elephant, I don't mean either of us two. I
I'm used to
mean,
elephant in every room that I'm in.
African. Yeah, no. Mike, you had, I would say, what was probably, and I'm trying to multitask here. I'm sorry, I'm drunk and I'm multitasking and I'm Irish, so it doesn't really work. Um, you had what was probably seemingly an overwhelming moment the other night, probably relatively unexpected when you seen some of the competition that you were going up against for what we thought as was, and excuse me for saying ours, because I know that this is your
No,
brainchild, your baby, your everything, but for seeing our little small charity come out on top in such a prestigious award with the FCA's obviously collecting gold for the best charitable campaign award at the FCA's the other night. And when you see some of the star-studded lists that went up there, I mean Ben Foster, AFTV, Mark Goldbridge, some big names there. Mike, how did that feel to be collecting that award and stand up on stage, um, reading out probably a non rehearsed speech?
it was not. Like literally, I typed a couple of words into notes on my phone, like on the off chance. I wanted to
Yeah,
make sure I didn't
just
forget it.
like fuck is.
Yeah, fuck is, and I wanted to make sure I didn't forget David Brooks' name in front of everybody because he is kind of the most recent
That man,
example of a
you talk about a touch of class that was
well,
neither. I wouldn't like to say necessary, but like a lot of people wouldn't have expected it, and I just think that was an absolute touch of class.
well, and I don't know if it really if it was like audible over the stream or whatever, but that was a suggestion, I believe, and I want to credit the wrong person, but I want to credit somebody. I think David Ziegler actually said, Mike, when you win tonight, you might want to mention David Brooks of Bournemouth, and it was honestly the first time I've heard of that, but it's like an example of the fact that this disease knows no bounds, no loyalties, no age, no color, no race, no religion, no anything. And but I love that you said our, because it is ours. I mean, you've jumped in full steam, a year ago before we even started podcasting together, before we really knew each other very well. And it's grown, and I mean, I'm just touched that this got the recognition. I love being recognized for things that I do. I mean, I do. I think it's fuel. It isn't necessary for me, but like the fact that we've kind of turned it into this thing that was in front of. I mean, the people in that room. Oh, and I mean, Sky Sports was in that room. The Athletic was in that room. Obviously a lot of Arsenal related people were in that room, but I mean, it was a shockingly high level event given the way that the voting went and the whole kind of haphazard element of please vote for us, tweet, can you tweet more than once, can you tweet more. It was an amazing event, and it actually meant a lot. And I think the credibility of the FCAs took a huge jump this year compared to maybe 5 or 6 years ago when Andy and I were like up for best football podcast, which was like a pitch take. Like, are you that desperate for podcasts that you're actually allowing us to enter this competition? But
Yeah.
uh,
And here, do you want to know what? This is actually the perfect segue to go into, because in many ways you attribute your humble beginnings as a podcast, and I suppose humble existence as a podcast host and participant in the Gooners podcast down to this guy. And I suppose it's good to get this guy to weigh in on probably what he feels to be
come on in, Danny.
the achievement that you've made, obviously collecting such a prestigious award when you see some of the company that you were keeping on that stage on that night. So I'd like to welcome in from a Bear Camp Wonderland, Mr. Danny by name, sweet by nature, Danny Sweetman.
Oi, Chico, how's the audio and video? Because I'm busy transferring porn from hard drive to hard drive. So I don't have any spare USB ports.
we don't need to know all those details. We're just happy that you're here.
Yes, I'm not actually. It's what's his name? Scott from the Red Cannon podcast.
Yes.
He does this thing where he goes and retro watches football games. So I found 109 Arsenal football games from over the years. and I'm transferring them all from a 3 terabyte hard drive to a 1. There you go. If anyone's still awake, good morning. Yeah, we won it. We won it. Like Mike was saying, we ABW won that for the listener's choice for best podcast, and I think maybe 2014. But that's when there was 3 other Arsenal podcasts.
you are our inspiration, and you won it back when before it mattered.
Yeah, before anybody cared.
No, honestly, I just remember when we got to know each other. Your website was like the award. It wasn't even called the FCA's back then. It was called something like the blogging. The
FBA.
blogging.
There's a B.
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, we were shooting for that. I think, the first time, because Elliot and his crew won a very impressive award this year because they were in competition with the largest podcasts in the entire Premier League, some of which were fan run and some of which were professional media run, and they won their category, which was not surprising but amazing. But they had also won it a year or two after you did, and they were basically that was when this awards were almost made up. It's turned into a big thing, and I know this sounds like I'm minimizing when you won it. I'm not, because your podcast is it's one of the godfathers of all Arsenal podcasts, one of the 2 or 3 that absolutely started it all. But I mean, you should have seen this event, Danny. It was nuts. I wish I could have brought you there with me as my.
But even Danny, this is something I think I'll 100% throw over to you, because I think there's no better person to ask. I think maybe along with Andrew, a lot of people would attribute yourself down to being the podfather of Arsenal podcasts. And
no, the pod mother. The podfather is Arsblog. I'm the pod mother. I was second.
But many of people attribute their beginnings down to you and your inspiration. And when you look at maybe people like Mike and we often attribute the negatives of certain people within our fan base as the online persona that people look at when we talk about the online Arsenal fan base. But when you look at somebody like Mike, I'm interested to get somebody from the outside looking in's view of the Gooners versus Cancer campaign. Is that something that sort of makes you proud to be a Gooner? Is it somebody that makes you proud to have the influence that you have had? And ultimately, what do you think of an overweight middle-aged man sitting in the middle of Highbury at 11 o'clock at night, literally after collecting a prestigious award?
The first thing it makes me think of is how much more money could they have raised if Andy would have turned up every now and then. That's the. We'd be looking at 100k easily, and then Mike could have swindled it all out of him. But to do something like
all the corporate money went out the window when he disappeared.
Did you change T-shirt mid podcast?
No. Yeah, but only one of you two has bought a new house in Florida, Mike. So that's all I'm saying.
Speaking of sporting a new house in Florida, I'm going to bring this man in because fresh off the boat into the US of A is Mr. Guatemalan Mike Hertz, Mexican Hernandez. Mike Hertz, the amount of virtue signal you're doing with that face mask profile picture is horrendous. How are you, buddy? He's driving. You forget about it. Danny, what about Mike?
So I was watching all the. Oh, he's there. I'll shut up. Go on, Mikey. Mike.
Oh no, I have horrible internet. Hopefully you can hear me. So I got Mikey frozen on screen, just absolutely dying because I'm assuming Danny cut me off. Is what I'm going to assume. Just I can't stick around for too long, and I do have horrible signal. But Mikey, I couldn't let this moment go by with saying massive congratulations, dude. I can't tell you how happy I am for you. And for those of you that don't know, the shit goes on in the backstage. Mikey, he's an absolute fucking beast when it comes to organizing and pushing in the right direction. And just the shit that Mike does is just out of this world. I've never seen this level of dedication. So honestly, Mikey, dude, congratulations.
Hey man, I appreciate that. And there's no truer thing that could be said, then I am a beast. I mean, I think it shows from this camera that we have at the moment. This is not the
You're
normal
even in the
camera.
profile pic with me. You see me in the back of my profile pic?
Why, is there a beast back there?
Stay Puff.
Look, yeah, thank you, Mike. And honestly, Owen made a comment literally that was almost a throwaway comment, and then he apologized for it, where he was like, "We won this award," and it would suck if it was seen as Mike, like the Geico commercial if you live in the United States. But because Owen jumped in last year head first and organized and raised and took an interest. Mike, same thing, 2-3 years running, finding a way of leveraging donations into things that would actually attract donations. And the thing that he donated to the raffle this year, which is still going on at GoonersBeatCancer.com, is literally, other than the legend signed shirts, it's the highest grossing thing that we have so far. So I mean, everyone's finding a way, publicity, just retweeting and donating and stuff, and it's just it just warms my heart. And I didn't need to win this award to know that we're making a big difference, but my God, it actually kind of, I think it can propel us to football versus cancer, from Arsenal versus cancer, and I know I'm going to need a hell of a lot of help to make that happen. So, but if people want to get behind this, the infrastructure is set up. You can do something that's great for a cause that probably is important to you and not have to do it from scratch, because we've got something that's kind of ready-made to jump in and start to grow. So didn't need to make this into a commercial for Gooners versus Cancer, but it's been a good week for the charity, and it's been a good week for Gooners, positively realizing the impact that we have on each other, because my God, we do a lot of shitting on each other. And that event on Thursday night, between there was chanting, there was a I don't know what the reason was to have a best Premier League football team award. I mean, because it's not like any of them were going to show up. But Arsenal won that, and the Arsenal contingent was probably 30 or 40% of that audience, and it was like we were back at Highbury again, which is exactly where I'm sitting right now. So it was just a fun event, and I knew I could never get up on that stage for our stupid ass podcast, but I thought maybe if I started a charity and tried to do something, if I tried
it's the whole thing of playing the cancer card to get our podcast promoted on a mass stage has always been the end goal, really.
Yeah. I'm slow rolling that because if that was the case, I'm doing the worst possible job at that. But no, one way or another, it's nice to know that. I mean, Arsenal ruled that award ceremony for both content, fanship, and charity, and I think And I
mean, in terms of and I'll say this: the tens of people listening to this live, and the tens of people listening back to this, is that when you the dozen, 2, 6, half a dozen on the other. But when you talk about a charity event, a lot of people think about hard work. When I first did this, and I first got introduced to Mike and stuff like that, it was literally pulling together the football team that I played for, charging £10 per person to participate, and had an 11-a-side football match. And I think singly it was the biggest contributor to the amount raised that year. So from anything from a pool competition to a poker tournament to a football match to a pub quiz, literally anything that you can think to do. There doesn't have to be any expense spared personally. There doesn't have to be a massive amount of work given. It just literally has to be a little creativity, a bit of ingenuity, and literally just don't sit there and think I can do something. Go out and put your plan into practice, and you'll be amazed at how much money you can raise by something as stupid and simple. And get in touch with Mike, get in touch with Gooners Free Cancer on Twitter. Throw your ideas into practice and raise a bit of money, because it can go a long way. But moving on from that, lads, we're going to talk about the future. Danny, Friday we have a bit of spare time. I hear that you don't drink too much, which made me kind of not want to meet you. But I'm willing to sacrifice that, and I'll get fucked up, and you can watch me get fucked up. Yeah. But what are we going to do next week, Mike? Let's move on to that, because I think Danny should be a part of that. And Mike, you can obviously chime in with some suggestions.
I would love Danny to be a part of that, but I think it's going to have to wait until the next week when I go up there for a one-on-one. Danny, any chance that we can get you down to London?
To do what? Where is it?
Where's London? It's a big southish area of England.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
I was expecting where's Guatemala, but not where's London.
I think you have a better
what's a Guatemala
than you do to get them
is
to
that
London.
Pokemon?
Whereabouts in London is it? I meant you tit.
The north part.
Yeah, like
you mean it's to where you're staying, Mike? Is what you mean?
Well, no. Well,
we can come to you.
I don't know exactly what's going on, but yeah, no, we're it's gonna be a cluster of incredible people joining us on Friday.
And he's not coming then.
The Arsenal building. No, he's not.
A cluster of incredible people.
He's coming to England, but apparently he needs to go sell popsicles to people in Portsmouth. So he's going to miss the game. But yeah, a lot of your, I mean, I hate to say it, but a lot of your mates, a lot of your ABW, the original crew is going to be there.
The Aston Villa game.
Yes.
I can't go. Jace is going to be there. He'll murder me.
I would like to broker a peace.
No.
Peace talks.
Oh, but like we're talking literally, like, what time do I get into London, Mike? Like 7:30 in the morning. So you've got 7:30 in the morning.
I'm going to wake up on Friday morning, and I'm going to look up, and Owen's just going to be standing over me, and we will kiss for the first time. And then it's going to be approximately 60 to 70 hours of ruining our bodies.
And then Matthew de Souza says in the chat, is one bringing along his 2 cows. Matthew, the one thing I'll say that London is absolutely full of is fat cows. We'll be fine on that front, buddy.
Yes. Yeah. Are they complaining about me? Oh, okay.
That's all right.
I'll be quiet.
At first, somebody to come up to and ask for an up.
Yeah, is that another fan, Mike?
No, it was a security guard who was asking if I live here and asked to see my key fob, which I have. But I was also told to
shut the fuck up,
as we say in Hebrew, shaket. So we're gonna keep this a little quieter.
Like if you were proper enough to be there.
Do you want to know what you could do, Mike? Mike, I've got an idea, and you might win us an award. Be Clive.
I was asked for my podcast license.
Doesn't he know who you are? Award winner.
I should have said that.
Fucking Cockney bastard.
I said, look, sir, do you have any idea who I am?
You've had him shot.
Look, mate, do you know Lee Judges?
I know. I watched him eat a lot of bread the other night, so please don't kick me out of here. Lee's all right. So basically, Lee goes up on the stage to accept the award for AFTV. Lee wasn't even invited to the event until he's my guest to the event, and he was
your
on the
plus
stage.
one?
So he's there, like, stealing people's wives, eating people's rolls. I mean, the guy was out of control. I mean,
You went full John Terry.
You think he was John Terry but balder. You would think, you think he's this guy that's kind of the classy one of AFTV. Whoa, you should have seen him the other night, man. Real total bore, that guy. And I don't mean he was boring. I mean, he's an animal.
Owen was asking me about the awards, and I thought it was I said to Mike, I messaged him and said, "Have you won your award yet?" He said, "Oh, we won't be winning it." I said, "You will be winning it." And then he won it. And it's just amazing to see so many people that my podcasting friends, bus wankers, to see them all winning stuff. It's really good. And there's a couple on there that I think, I don't know how the hell they won it. They must have paid someone a lot of money because their podcast is fucking awful. I don't mean Robbie and his lot. That narrows it down, doesn't it? Yes. So,
come on, man. Canton, shots fired, bro.
No, not Tom.
Oh,
Tom's brilliant.
that really narrows it down.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that about Tom.
Okay.
Brilliant, Tom winning it.
So,
in fact,
so now
I think Tom might even.
Now Owen is on record. Now Owen is on record as saying Tom sucked and paid for it.
I think Tom might even be a 2-time winner because he might have been with us when we won our one. Has anyone told him that? He owns a slice of ours where Gimli kept the award and the poster, and then Jason drank his 1 litre of Carlsberg, and then Gimli got the ump about it.
So wait, can I ask for a second here? So what is the financial reward of winning one of these FCAs?
I've been living off it since then. Luxury. Hot and cold running whores, male and female. and unicorns, if that's what you want. Oh, more drugs than you can shake a stick at.
It's amazing.
I was wondering why Mike was still awake at this time.
A new care package keeps showing up every night at my flat, and there are just different levels of drugs that are in there every night. It's amazing.
I'm just imagining the call to the security guy at Highbury. Excuse me, there's a large American man sitting in the middle of the garden with a light on him.
That had to have come from somewhere. He said people were
a flashlight.
Fucking all I'm gonna say is fucking Lee Gunner will do anything to destroy you, bro.
He said people were complaining. It wasn't just one person. Like there's only okay. As I look here, there's like six lights on in the North Bank. There's maybe 4 in the West Stand. I can narrow it down pretty easily, and I
just throw stones and see which ones come out first.
Did he start it? Well, I've just picked up my dry cleaning. We've had some complaints about the noise.
No, he said, I smell a Jew somewhere. And he said, "Are you a resident?" And I said, "Kinda."
Maybe he was talking about Brexit. He was like, "Bro, you're supposed to be gone 6 months ago."
Maybe he's worried about the pitch because they're never going to get that divot out, are they? If that's where you're sitting.
I'm on a bench, which you remember the bench that used to be right on the middle of the pitch at Highbury when they would play games.
Oh yeah, they played around it.
Yeah, think about it, lads. All right, see where this idiot is about to get himself kicked off of is literally where Thierry Henry and Dennis Bergkamp used to centre from.
And is that crazy? Like, yeah, where I'm about to get strip searched is where Perez used to glide over this patch of earth.
Patrick Vieira literally fucking snapped Roy Keane where you're parking your ass.
I believe I'm sat directly at the piece of earth where Kevin Campbell gathered the ball and destroyed Des Walker on his first top level goal for the Arsenal, and you're gonna see me strip searched and muzzled in front of the world. I mean, I'd almost prefer that to just finishing off the podcast like this.
Here, right. So let's dive into this, lads. And Danny and Hertz. Hertz, I know you're driving on the phone, which isn't illegal in Guatemala. So let's crack on. You can jump into this, Mike. Our plans for next week is obviously Mike Hertz was obviously killed for driving on his phone in Guatemala.
Mike Hertz has sadly passed away.
R.I.P. Thoughts go out to 74 children.
We still have 4 people left on the podcast.
Oh, he messaged me, the signal's gone. Anyway, Danny, you can jump in this. Okay, so I've been told this is slightly too much for the time we have together, Michael, which is on the Friday evening we have Arsenal Aston Villa. On the Saturday we will be going to Crystal Palace versus Newcastle, and then on Sunday we will be going to West Ham versus Tottenham. Go on, you Hammers.
No shitty Saturn, I'm glad to hear.
We've overbooked, but there's no one saying that we have to actually be awake during those games.
Danny, is this too tight a schedule, or is it a very good excuse to go to the pub every day?
For who? For you two? Probably the pub. Yeah. It is a long old way from North London down to Crystal Palace, so it's probably safer to stay in the pub.
Oh shit!
I mean, I've done that once. I went to see West Ham Chelsea. Hated it. Load of shit. I don't know why I went. Wish I hadn't have bothered.
Speaking of not bothering.
So just out of interest. Hello, Danny. How are you, mate?
Oh, all the better now that you're here. A little bit of sense. Hopefully these two will fuck off and we can talk football.
Yeah, unlikely.
No.
Owen, when are you arriving in enemy territory?
Friday, enemy territory. I love
you knew exactly where I was talking about as well.
I always get anal cavity gets searched every time I'm coming in here. It's like, son, where you're coming from, I can smell the IRA off you, and it's just not. It's not good. It's discriminatory. If I'm being honest.
Listen, what you need to say is just every time when they look at you, go, I know where you love.
It's bang.
He's not the only Catholic here. I am as well.
Oh,
bang out of order.
So actually, this is 3 Jew. 3?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. 3 Catholics and a Jew. Christ.
That sounds like a shit fucking joke from like 1980.
The people in the chat, make up your own jokes for that.
Did anyone get the bell from the center circle of Highbury?
Don't be ringing the bell, man. You always get kicked out for just sitting there.
To Highbury squad, I apologize. I apologize that I haven't got sense of this podcast just yet.
American podcaster ringing a bell at the center of Highbury, and I think it should be stopped.
Right. Magic Mike, where are you? Please don't tell me you're jumping off the balcony to make a big dent on the penalty spot. At
even worse.
He could be in Highbury. He could be in outer space. He could be in fucking Gary Glitter's rectum. He could. Freddie Starr. Not Gary Glitter. Freddie Starr.
It looks dark enough. It could be there.
I'm doing snow angels on the ground in the center circle, but.
Dublin Gooners says I used to be Catholic, but I'm all right now.
I think I feel your pain, Dublin Gooner.
That's why Fergus still walks funny.
Yeah. They don't call me Magdalene Ferg for any other reason. Listen, I was watching Match of the Day. I was really settling down. I was just finishing off my beer. I'm going, it's my wedding anniversary today. I've served 28 years. I deserve a fucking medal.
Congratulations.
Well done, Fergus.
Thank you. She's asleep, snoring. She's asleep, looking delightful as always. And I was just sitting there, finished my beer off, watching Match of the Day, and I get booty call from Magic Mike. You can't resist, can you?
You know, I am pretty alone right now. I'm feeling very lonely, and your booty just kind of stood out to me. So
you won't be feeling lonely when they come and drag you off that pitch.
This sounded like a good idea about half an hour ago when I told Ian about it right now. Or when I told Ian about it.
So, Owen, for clarification, is this now 3 people? Oh, sorry, actually 2 people, maybe Danny and me, because I know you always have got Mike's wing, as it might say, like it's a big wing, quite a thick wing. But is this 2 people ruining Mike again?
It is, and do you want to know? I'm always a fan of it because I always like. One thing I'll say about Mike Feinborg, or Feinborg, as I like to call him, is he's very ruinable. You can ruin this guy easy, but he's got such a cute face. I don't know if cute's the word, but I just feel sorry. I can't do it. I'm relatively ruthless when it comes to it. Like, there's certain people I could tear apart, but
it's like the guilt trip when you come out of Tesco's and they got that food bank thing. You had to put a tin of beans in, don't you?
Yeah,
I always take stuff. I thought that's what it's there for.
Look,
oh shit!
Excuse me for sounding insensitive when I say that. It's like, you know, when beggars sit beside cash machines, and it's like, bro, fuck you. You know what you're doing.
They're just looking for me because I'm normally go to the cash point machine when I'm drunk. I give them a tenner. Can you put Dublin Gooners last comment up, please?
Yeah, I can.
We have found where Mike is.
Given the dark void, I suspect that Mike is actually sitting in Spurs trophy room.
There's got to be a lot of batter around there, isn't there?
There is absolutely.
He's not having a piss.
So Fergus, you're gonna be coming.
He's having a piss.
Is he being sick?
No, he's having a piss or puking. I don't know which.
He's being sick.
Come on, you were asking me a question. Sorry.
Yeah, you're going to be meeting up with us on Friday, aren't you?
I'm not getting sick. I'm going inside.
Yeah, I'm meeting you on Friday. Trev, there's a few of us coming down, so yeah. Sophie in the chat, put up your bad Irish joke. We don't get offended, unlike
not at all. Not at all. And she's Greek. She's not English, so she can't be blamed for occupation. Friday. What's the plans, bro?
They just bleed the EU dry, but we won't go into that yet.
I occupied in Greece for 6 months, 2 years in a row in the Greek islands, so it holds a fond place in my heart, mainly for the. I'm not sure what way to say this without sounding like a misogynist. Never mind. Move on from that.
Wise choice. We already lost one of the hosts of the show. Don't want to lose the other one. Yeah, as for me turning up, I can't come because it'd be hard to get down there anyway. Because the only person who's sure to drive my van is Sean's mum, and she usually goes to bed about 6 p.m. and gets up at about 5 a.m.
I hold a UK driving license, Daniel. I would be happy drunkenly waiver you down to London.
That'd be good. A drunk Irishman driving.
It would remind you of the 1990s, all right. Muted Fergus. I'll unmute you. There you go.
I just said he said drunk Irishman. I just said Irishman. That'll do.
But if Jace wasn't going to be there, then I'd consider letting someone come and get me. But he will actually murder me. He hates me.
Yeah, and it's awful because I love us both. Yes, first.
Owen, you asked about Friday. Friday, I'm in Stratford upon Avon, getting very Anglified on Thursday night. I had no work to do. It's meant to be 10, 11 o'clock in bed. Yeah, that's. But 11 o'clock is according to the wife anyway. And then I drive home the next day. Oh, that's going to be a difficult drive. And then dump the car. I expect about 4 o'clock. And as much as I don't want to go there, I don't think I've got a choice. It's the Wenger Inn, isn't it? The Tully.
Tollington. That's yeah. Do you want to know what, man? And I'm not sure, Fergus, whether you have been here before, because I'm and throw your stereotypical Irish mark on me right now, but I'm a Guinness drinker, so I always have loved the Falter and Fullback. It's a cracking bar for Guinness wise. I've never been to the Tollington. If you're talking about Guinness around the Emirates Stadium or in that vicinity,
Woodbine.
That's a
Mihal
classic.
runs the Woodbine. He has got Ern's peas, Nor, potatoes. He's got everything. It is proper Irish. Mihal can drink 15 pints of Guinness and drive his car and still pass a breathalyzer. He's Irish.
Legally, too. Allegedly.
Oh, absolutely.
Allegedly. Yeah. So, how far is the Woodbine from?
I'm not whispering. Well, actually, I am whispering. So, the wife's asleep. I'm meant to be going to sleep as well. See it coming up.
I love the way it's your anniversary. Your wife has obviously put in a lot of effort. It slipped into some fantastic lingerie. Went into bed, goes, Fergus, I'll see you in 5 minutes. And you go, okay, love, I'll see you in 5 minutes. And then now you're on a podcast with fucking 3 overweight guys.
That's what keeps the marriage going.
I'm not overweight.
No, 3, I said. You're with 3.
Ah, okay, yeah, you're counting yourself. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Just clarifying, Danny. I think he's been rude towards you. I wouldn't come on there again.
It's shocking. I know, and all I've had to eat today is crisps.
16 kebabs and a pizza. So yeah, it's just diet food.
That's it.
Yeah.
Actually, if I can't eat gluten. Giving up coffee as well. Hard times. Oh, here he is.
Should we talk about football just for a split second, okay? Just for a split second.
Can I apologize for the fiasco that was me trying to podcast in the middle of Highbury at night? At night.
Was there sentiment involved there or not logistics?
I mean, yeah, it was more, hey, this is what I'm doing than, hey, this is going to work out well. By the way, this was a gift from Dan Potts, which is very special to Owen since he was the one who basically unmasked,
coined the phrase.
Coined the phrase. I love soup, but yes, now I'm back inside the North Bank in the flat, and it's probably going to be a little less bumpy.
We're the North Bank, Highbury.
Mike, as a typical Yank, just like World War II, he's turned up 15 years after we left Highbury. Trying to prove he's a proper fan. I was going 15 years after we left. I'm a proper fan.
I was sitting on the bench just like everyone else was,
waiting for everyone to turn up.
That was Hey, Owen,
want to do a
podcast? Want to do a podcast? And then like 2 minutes in, I'll completely fall off of it, and you're gonna have to like you
run the whole thing after you've had a mountain of alcohol.
He did get lucky that he got 2 other people who could host a podcast as well. So, it did help.
This is a podcast
Owen's well capable. And he's used to carrying you as well, metaphorically, not physically.
We have like 2 more podcast hosts in the chat as well, so it's like we have a list of people that could just.
Hey! On the topic of and I am whispering still. On the topic of podcast hosts,
2 of us were whispering in the last 10 seconds too. Oh my God, I had to whisper out there.
Yeah. It is the Clash of the Titans tomorrow night at 6 p.m. on YouTube. Guns and Yellow Ribbons. Lee Judges and Dan Potts, the podcast whore, are joining me and Trev.
Ooh,
those 2 guys are going to make it good if they can join us too. I'll tell you what, they're going places.
They don't know the traction they're going to gain from being on your channel, Ferg.
I have a question.
Exactly.
Are you sure Lee Judges is joining you at 6:00 tomorrow night? Because I am pretty sure he's going to be somewhere else at 6:00 tomorrow night.
Yeah,
just what I've heard. You might want to confirm with him because I'm hearing things.
I did about an hour ago before you were drunk. Well, actually, that's probably 12 hours ago, but that's different.
Well,
lads,
I think that says more about Lee Judges and his scheduling skills than it does about my alcoholism.
Come on, let's talk to Owen.
Yeah, let's talk about this. The Paddy Vieira derby Fergus, jumping back, Mike is sitting at Paddy Vieira's home turf. He was literally sitting his arse on the spot that he used to dominate in the centre of the park.
Are you saying he used to dominate my anus?
He has dominated Uranus, and he will dominate Uranus, and if he doesn't, I will. But Fergus, what's that going to be like? What kind of reception are you expecting from Paddy for Paddy Vieira? And do you think that maybe if the result doesn't go Arsenal's way, that reception could maybe be rescinded and maybe turn slightly hostile towards Paddy, or do you think that the love is? Do you think the love is too thick?
That's a topic we have. I put it on the Arsenal fans forum page, and also it's a topic that we're going to talk about tomorrow. But first of all, your drunk accent of saying Paddy sounds like Poddy. So we just need to clarify that you're saying Paddy Vieira. He will get an almighty welcome, and when we're 2-0 up, 3-0 up, we'll keep on singing his name. But if we are 1-2-0 down, we'll be very bloody quiet as the Villa.
It's not going to be. It's not going to be him who catches shit. If we're 1 or 2 down, it's not going to be Vieira.
That's my point. It will be our fans that'll catch crap from the Palace fans. They'll give it back to us. We love you, Vieira, or Patrick Vieira, whatever songs they have for Vieira, they will have. But we'll give him a warm welcome. We'll give him a warm farewell, and I'm sure, knowing the man that he is, he will give us a huge amount of respect before, after, but not during the game.
You don't think that I mean, I know the game day supporter is different than the keyboard warriors, but I mean, if we go down in 1-0, God forbid 2-0, do you think Arsenal fans sing Vieira to literally take the piss out of Arteta at that point?
Mike, I think you will find the game day supporters this season extremely different than the game day supporters
I've heard that
2 seasons ago.
Younger, louder,
so many of
more
the
positive.
old crony, bitter old bastards who have had, and I don't mean that badly, but I do mean it, who have gone, yeah, they've kept their season ticket for 50 years and 60 years, passed them down, and actually never turn up only to go to a cup final or a Champions League final or a Europa League final, and they rent their tickets out and sell them off to everything. There are little or no tourists.
Fergus, you've given me the perfect tangent here, just to add somebody else into our conversation. Speaking of holding the season,
perfect 5 now.
Speaking of holding the season ticket for 50 years and never turning up for a game, we have the most un-American fan in the world, the wonderful Sophie from Highbury squad. Sophie, how's things?
Can you say Lady Sophie, please? Lady Sophie.
Lady Sophie.
Sophie, are you still in bed?
I'm in bed, and I have to say, I'm taking a break from catching up from my crap TV. Okay, hence why I'm not on camera today, because I'm so not camera ready, and listening to you knuckleheads minus Fergus and Danny.
This is us.
And I'm laughing my ass off, I have to say. So just wanted to say hi really quickly and say how much I love all of you. And well done, Mike, on your award.
Yes.
It's so magical, and I love you so much. And you've done so many amazing things for people in the community. And sometimes you don't even recognize it yourself, but maybe sometimes you just need to hear it from other people. And it was, for me, I was so proud of all the Gooners who won that night, but that award just melted my heart, and I'm so happy for you. It's deserved.
Sophie, 2 seconds before you say it, Mike, I want to reiterate what you said there, and getting serious for a second. The fact that you had Sky Sports, Arsenal Fans TV, some major channels and other clubs and everything else getting mentioned, but some of the major media channels getting mentioned, and the one who comes out with a gold award for a charity is our friend,
our boy,
and, our man, Mike Fernberg, our only Jew that I'm only joking
I
with
also-
that one.
After the show went off the air, I won Best Jewish Podcaster, which
Amazing.
I didn't even win Best Jewish Podcaster because Elliot was there, but I won the silver.
That bastard.
but-
Is there an
but-
award
no,
for best Greek Orthodox podcaster? Because that would be
I
good.
mean,
Harry
also.
Sim, you want it?
No, go on, Fergus.
I got-
It's true. It like for a. It's so important.
He's just one of us. And listen, you know, my podcast gets 6 people watching. It doesn't. It gets more than that. But it's not. It's more a hobby than a business sort of thing. I don't do it for a business. But what Mike has done with the Gooner podcast and this is just like a joke. It's a hobby. It's an environment for us idiots to sit here and have a laugh and a joke and be drunk sometimes, not drunk other times. Well, Mike's always drunk. But for us to come along and do that, and he mobilised the Gooner everybody right across America and the UK. He stands up, he destroys Unai Emery's press conference, and then he goes up and gets an award where nobody can hear a word he says.
Jack has never been the same since.
Oh my
No,
god,
no.
Jack!
He was
I
great
thought
before that.
Jacka was going to kill him.
I just love that like some of the most embarrassing and incredible moments of my life are just in front of all you jackasses. Like literally,
Yeah.
Sophie was there for that.
Yeah.
So,
Even
I-
Andrew from Arsblog, he was like,
my
"Oh
God.
my god!"
And you want to know
what
what?
is going on?
Even away from Gooners v Cancer, and I know we're getting awfully soppy right now.
I can't
Oh,
take
I
it.
know,
anymore.
and I love
no,
it
no,
when
we
you get
won't, we
sloppy,
won't.
you hard bastard.
Turn it on Sophie. Turn it on
But-
Sophie because I'm not used. I'm not used.
No,
to
what I will say is that like at the time that I come on to the Gooners pod and stuff like that was like it was obviously when lockdown first kicked in and shit was getting really heavy over here and in America and stuff, and we're all relatively contained to our homes and stuff like that. And I'll be honest, I was at that point really, really struggling. You know, we had our first kid in January, the 10th of January, which was literally the first day of that Corona was diagnosed.
And then in February, she broke her leg.
Yeah, the day she broke her leg, yeah. But literally, it got to the point where I was literally on the day that Mike messaged me and asked me to come on, that I was ready to give up podcast and I was ready to come off Twitter. I just wasn't really feeling it. Arsenal were going through an absolute downer, and Mike asked me to come on, and I'll be honest, reluctantly, I sort of said yes, just to give it a go, just to see what it was about. And without Mike, I wouldn't be podcasting today, and without Mike, I'm not sure how well I would have made it through lockdown and what way I would have been mentally or what. But Mike, you've really, really helped me over the last year to come over the shit that's been going on, and you've made being an Arsenal fan a pleasure again.
I'm not sure about
it's
that.
not-
That's a bit too far.
And it's not just Mike.
He's going to be
though.
lying on my
it-
couch
great,
5
though.
days. He's going to be lying on my couch 5 days from now. And now that
No,
he
but
said
see,
that,
this is what I mean. I didn't mean any of that. This was literally an end.
Don't go over the
to
mark,
sleep on the
Mike.
couch and me to
Was
sleep
there a
on the bed.
face-off moment? Did you have one of those face-off moments?
No,
like,
we're
you know,
we'll pre-arrange.
That's where we're
Sophie,
going to consummate our
we're-
relationship.
Yeah, we'll
Sophie, don't push that
pre-arrange
point.
that we're
Don't
going.
push that point.
We're going head to tail,
Tail to
tail to top to tail.
Well-
look, man.
Owen, to follow up on your comment on that, on what you said there about Mike and supporting you through lockdown and all that sort of stuff, but
Danny's about to throw up.
no.
Oh, me too.
Whether it's lockdown, whether it's whatever, like this is what is. I think it's still Mental Health Month in the UK. I know there's it's that there's lots of different things, but there's been a big thing about mental health recently, and these communities, these WhatsApp groups that we all chat on and take the piss out of each other on, these podcasts, whether we get 10 people or 10,000 people watching, they're communities that we have a virtually chat. And I honestly, I'll tell you the truth. I was going to give up doing Guns and Yellow Ribbons as of this weekend. And I rang
It's not your
Trev
show,
today and I
Vinny.
said,
Shut up.
Vinny, oi. Can I have a word with Vinny's agent, and I'll have him on
he's
a
such
week
Vinny's
on
just getting
Wednesday.
ready for
That's
Monday
all
night's
right.
game.
Go on,
But
Fergus.
I I was not going to do Guns and Yellow Ribbons anymore because I just felt like, it's the same old crap, it's the same old thing. And I rang old man Trev, and I got some signal eventually. But I rang Trev and I said, I don't know what we're doing. And then I said, okay, yeah, we'll do Sunday and I'll see how we go. And I got in touch with Lee and Dan. I said, yeah, come on. I got excited again because I'm chatting to my mates. And we're talking about stuff that we like and something in common. And it's just chatting to your mates. So I've never met you, but I see you on Sky Sports sometime and I go, that's my mate. I see her, I know her. And it that's what it is. We are a bunch of friends. And the world is so fucked up over the last few years that now virtual friends are almost the same as real friends, and when you meet in reality that's really awkward, but it is good. It is good.
That's why, Fergus, that's why I keep going to the opposite pub of where you say you're going to be.
Yeah, I know you did.
I know it's
several
going to
times.
be so awkward when we finally actually end up at the same pub.
No, I mean, Fergus, I totally agree with you, right? There's moments where, like we had a premiere show tonight. We've launched a new show called Talented Gooners, which has nothing to do with tactics, game day shit, none of that stuff. And
I should have been on then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fergus can do keepsiopsies with a part of his body that you would be very surprised with.
I mean, but the point is that it's never about.
No, I'll wait. I'll wait till I get my royalties.
If you love the people and the community, it's not about the numbers. It's about quality, not quantity. I mean, we could do a post-game show and have thousands of views on YouTube or hundreds of people, in live chat. But for me, the most rewarding thing is like a show I did tonight, and we had at best probably 50 people listening tonight for a premiere. It's not a live show. And to me, that story that we told of little Mikey Pooley and him losing his sight and still playing football is everything. It's about people at the end of the day. And when everything else comes along with it and you have more people listening, that's fine and that's great. But I have like little Soph on the show who, I mean, we have lots of different people on the show who can have 2 followers or 100 followers. We don't, or 10,000. We just don't care about numbers. It's about people. And I've always been about people, and I'm not being soppy and I'm not giving a line. I truly have always been that way. And, the groups that we're in and the conversations that we have, they're engaging and they're funny, and just to see everyone going back and forth and the friendships that have been built from that are really. Can I
exclude the Janet Thanet out of that? Thanet Janet does not.
And he is helping me with some tickets for this weekend. So.
I don't know. Who's that?
It's not important.
Oh.
So yeah, just 3 hours ago. I'm
sorry, Soph. I didn't mean to ruin it.
No, that's okay. No.
I spent an hour and a half basically having a great conversation with some guy who I met at the 12 pins tonight, who asked me where my bell was.
That was the mirror.
Well,
isn't the 12? Do you think the 12 pins is a better pub than the Tollington?
100%. But I prefer my favourite pub is the Woodbine.
Okay, so you didn't answer the question then. No, I mean, I was there tonight, and someone came up and asked me where my bell was and told me how much she loved seeing me on the Highbury squad.
Oh wow!
You've created,
that's amazing.
And I took a selfie with him, and I told you. I mean, he's
Barry Byrne, right? Barry, good old Barry.
And it's just it's a cool thing though, because you've built a community, and that's what I've always dreamed of doing here. Except you really have to have people know what you're going to do and when you're going to do it, and we've never really been able to get that together on our end. But but the community is fantastic. So I mean,
but Mike, I think we've all done it in different ways, right? Like every show has a place, and every show has an audience. And I have to say, if I want to get super soppy, it's Saturday super soppy night. Forget soggy Saturday afternoons in Stoke. We're doing super soppy Saturday night. And none of it would have been possible.
Glad you're sober.
I am. I mean, don't know. It's crazy. It's Saturday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon here, and I'm completely sober. But my big opportunity came with that guy there, top right corner, Danny, a Bergkamp Wonderland. He was the first. He and Jeff Arsenal.
Yes.
I think Jeff heard me on TalkSport one day, and he said to
My
Danny,
name is Jeff.
"You got to get Sophie on the show," and
And Vin.
it just kind of went from there. And I don't know. I don't even know what I want to say. I'm not feeling well today. I'm laying in bed, as I said to you guys. I just am really grateful to be part of a community that has really great people doing really good things. And I love how there are certain podcasters, especially in this group, and people and other channels like Lee's, and, that we all support each other. And I think that's a really cool thing. And I'll never forget Danny and what Danny, Bergkamp Wonderland did for me. And then it just kind of went on from there with other really good people too. So...
You know what,
do you feel like you've given birth to a monster or a number of monsters, or do you ever sit back and be like, you know what, I've actually
Like that was Danny the original gremlin?
There was Danny, and then there was Andrew from
Astros.
They got water on me.
Yeah, remember that little fluffy fuck that got fed after midnight?
But you got Danny and you got Andrew, who were like the forerunners, the pioneers of it all. And then you got Robbie with AFTV, who's done a fantastic job making himself a good living, and good luck to him. Whether you like it or don't like it, that's your your choice. But you got the Highbury squad, you've got Gooner Pot, you've got so many, and what Lee and Dan are doing right at the moment is brilliant. But Sophie, you're bang on the point that it doesn't matter whether you're probably, with the exception, and this is no disrespect to Arse Bros and Arse Blog and AFTV, but with the exception of those two, only because they're that huge, all the rest of the podcasts support, be it one man and his band trying up to what we're doing. And I think it's brilliant, and it is good, and we understand why we do it. We do it because we love Arsenal Football Club, and we also understand the other reason why we do it is exactly what Owen was talking about 2 or 3 minutes ago. Well, it's probably longer than 2-3 minutes ago because we've all waffled on for so long, but it's about sitting here chatting. Basically, we're sitting here, the concept of what we do on our one is we're sitting in the pub having a pint and just 3-4 people having a chat about Arsenal, and that's exactly what we're doing right now, and that's and it's bang on, Sophie. Well done.
Well, and I wanted to say, there was a comment made on Twitter, and
my anniversary is over in 2 minutes, by the way, so then you're all clear. I can up the
Happy anniversary, by the way.
I'm not going to name. I'm not going to
28
name the person.
28 years served.
Well done.
I'm not going to name the person, and it doesn't matter. I don't know the person that well, but I know him or her a little well. And there was a comment about how this FCA
him, her,
award
she. Are you gender neutral?
He, her, she, they.
Just say Q.
Just Q plus. About how the hubbub about the FCAs the other night. They were like, "Where's all the the recognition for the small people?" We're the small people. Fergus, you're the small people.
Who said that, Mike? Who said that?
Mike, you're only 5'7".
I'm not going to say who said it, but
I'm sorry. I thought it was a general conversation.
No, it was. But he wouldn't mind if you said who it was.
I'm not.
Do you want me to say it?
Who it was.
Shall I say it?
I don't want you to.
I mean, your podcast and your campaign is. I mean.
But it was. I mean, look, the campaign, the charitable and all that aside, the majority of the night was about content providers on the entertainment level, and I was really taken aback by this person's comment because they, for the first time ever, divided it into groups. There were best content provider, small organization, 1 or 2 people. Best content provider, small business, 3 to 10 people. Best content provider, large company.
In fairness,
10,
Mike,
12.
they haven't got much of a choice. There's so much content out there now. Everybody can do it.
And that's the thing. There's so much out there. It was almost. It just took me aback, and was like, okay, because you weren't there, not your fault. Not. I mean, I understand. You probably didn't read the program. You may not have even seen the entirety of the people of the categories that there were. There were 40 categories.
But anybody can buy tickets to go.
It wasn't an exclusive big boy thing by any means. It was not, I mean, not everybody can be nominated, but all you can do is try, grassroots stuff. And it felt very kind of,
But Mike,
why
can I
aren't
just
people
jump in
loving
real
what I
quick?
do type of thing. And I just think that, it shouldn't make people say, it shouldn't be feeling like it's an exclusive thing. I thought it was the most inclusive thing I've ever been involved in.
I do. Listen. In your podcast being recognized is the perfect
Well, my podcast
example
wasn't
of that.
recognized.
No, but the podcast is the reason why the campaign exists.
If there was no podcast, you wouldn't have started the campaign.
Absolutely.
That is true.
So
That's true.
there's a reason
Can
why.
I say this?
And Debbie, there would be no podcast if it was not for you.
And
No,
this is my thoughts, not the Gooners podcast, not
You
Gooners
got
Free
right in front of
Cancer.
Sophie there for a second. Sophie was in the middle of saying something.
Not Danny, not nobody.
It's okay.
Sorry, Sophie. I'm gonna
No,
say
it's okay. Go on, mate.
It's very easy to snap at people's heels when you're not at the table. You know what I mean? And throwing out comments on Twitter is very, very easy. But when you see the work that certain people put in, the hours that certain people put in, the favors that certain people call in to make their campaign reputable, it's very, very easy to cast aside comments criticizing or being jealous or being whatever. But it's completely uncalled for just because there's a big name up there. Let's say, for example, Mike, you mentioned that said Ben Foster or Mark Goldbridge won an award, but you're overlooking the other smaller podcasts or organizations that won. Like, look at Tom Canton.
What makes
for example,
Tom
and I know that's a
any
very
bigger than
easy.
what Tom Canton is a one-man show.
Yeah, exactly.
So why? I mean, he's not big. He's just.
In other words, stop being such a jealous cunt and shut
No, but
the
also
fuck
Tom,
up.
look, what people don't realize is the sacrifices some people make. Like Tom left a
That cunt
teaching-
gets up every morning at 8 a.m. 8
Oh, I
a.m.
can-
every
sorry, I'm
single
not doing
morning.
I'm not doing. I'll stay up until 8 a.m. But
You
Everyone
got Tom. You
works
got
hard
Harry.
in different
Look at Harry.
ways.
You look at
Sorry,
Harry's
go
done it with 90 minutes and so on. It's what these people do. Whether any of us individually like them or dislike them or whatever, that's beside the point. What these people put into doing what they put up is admirable. For me to produce a podcast, which is going to be an hour or so tomorrow night, it's taken me half a day today and about a dozen or so different messages to get people lined up and so on. And then I run the affiliated Facebook group, which you're putting on 4, 5, 10 posts, polls, everything. It's constant. And that's something that you do for nothing, for love, just for fun. And a hobby, and the people who do it and make money out of it, like what Lee and Dan have started recently, and I only say that because they're the ones I know closest to me. What they've started recently, the amount of effort and hours they're putting in is just unreal. And when people slag off the likes of Robbie Lyle and others about
Lee's not really
they don't
putting that
understand-
much work in.
Mike, no,
he
fair.
doesn't even eat a sandwich. fuck's sake.
Give credit where credit is due. What Robbie and that has done over the years.
He's personally
fuck's sake,
delivering
guy.
your fucking t-shirt. He's literally walking to Washington.
It's really. Sorry, Fergus. I was just going to add to that because people don't realize sometimes what goes into broadcasting a show daily. Okay, and then when you add other content to your show and you do pre-recorded stuff, they don't realize what goes into that too. Many of us don't make a living doing this. Many of us have another job that pays the mortgage and the bills and keeps the lights on in the house. And I think, we have to be proud of the fact that there are people creating content that's being recognized. I was so proud of everybody who won. And I think that you have to look at it
that room. I only wish you could have all been in that room, because it was there was so much positivity and love and joy and alcohol in that room.
Like that award, not only to Mike, as I mentioned earlier, meant so much to, like, the first thing I messaged you was I woke up my pregnant wife at almost 12 o'clock at night to tell her
are you making the announcement now? That's the
Yeah,
first time we've heard that live.
She wasn't pregnant. She wasn't pregnant beforehand, but
she is now, bro.
I impregnated my wife on Thursday night at 3 o'clock.
I must admit, it was the first thing I said to my wife when I read it on Twitter in the morning. I come along and said, my mate in America, you know, the guy I know who's at Highbury and everything else, Mike Feinberg, and I said, he's only won an award. And she went, oh, I'm delighted. She hasn't got a clue who you are. But Sophie, the word
I have some bad news for you. She knows exactly who I am. I'm just kidding.
Oh, no, she does. Mark, I knew that already. But Sophie, you said many. I think most people who do what we do and talk about and don't make any money it's the very few, the cream on the top. To be honest, most podcasters are like Premier League footballers. Most podcasters are just kicking around in the park, and you got a few on the top who are taking the money, and good luck to them, because they've done it and put the effort in.
Right. I mean, we're, you know, like we have a series.
I'm getting the beer back in a second.
That Danny's done a piece that will go out in the next week or so, where we've got, I mean, Kevin doesn't have to do this stuff. Kevin doesn't have to be like interviewing people to find out more about them, but he does it because he loves it. And, you know,
and you can tell that by the way the show went, that it was something he wanted to do, and he was really fascinated. He was brilliant at it as well.
Yeah. And he asked and he said specifically, he made a list of people. He's like, you know, he recognizes that Danny's done so much for so many, and he goes, I want to talk to Danny. I want to talk to people that, you know, and he's going to be talking to most of you probably. And the fact that happened is amazing.
So, I mean, Sophie, do you think that, see when you look at Kevin, and this is something funny I was thinking about the other night, which was that, like, you look at Arsenal Football Club and Robert Perez, Thierry Henry, Ray Parler are often faces that are thrown out to the sort of general media as representation for Arsenal fan base. Is Kevin Campbell, in a way, the best modern representation of the Arsenal fan base as a whole? Is he the face that we should be holding up as the fan base, as our representation, rather than the ones that are forcefully put out onto the media?
I love that you've asked this question, because I've been ripped this week for taking Thierry Henry to task for what he said, and, you know, sitting in the stands with a man who wants to take over the club, and then criticizing Arteta, which, by the way, I agreed with everything that he said about Mikel Arteta. But I just wish he added a caveat that said, I've managed in Liga and MLS, which is nowhere near as competitive as the Premier League. So I know how hard it is to be a manager, but, you know, as a player, I see X, Y, and Z. But instead, he just wants to, you know, not add that caveat, and to go at a manager who's a superior manager to him right now, whether people like to hear that or not. He's won the FA Cup. He's done a lot more than Thierry Henry has. Thierry Henry couldn't even progress the Montreal Impact after one game in the playoffs, you know, and he said he switches off when Xhaka's captain. That's fine, but I'm sure Monaco fans switched off when you were manager, you know. So I think that Kevin, for example, some people say, for me, Ian Wright and Kevin are the example of that. And some people say, well, Ian Wright's paid by the club. Kevin Campbell is not paid by Arsenal Football Club. For me, he is the purest of them all in terms of how he talks about the club, how he loves the club. He grew up in South London with very little and ended up playing for the club that he supported as a kid. And he never wanted to leave the Arsenal, you know. And I gave that as an example in the show. And I said, look, Kevin never wanted to leave the Arsenal, but he's never badmouthed the Arsenal. He's supported the Arsenal. And if you see how Everton fans are with him, forget about it. The dude is a special human being.
So do you think it's a little bit ironic that we look at the two people. I had my earphones in because I could hear what you were saying about what Kevin said, and I've done Who Are You with Kevin as well, so I'm very
You're on the
grateful of that, and I'm
list.
sure
I've
we'll
got
come
it.
out.
I've got it in my.
Yeah. Thank you.
I've edited
you.
it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
And
You edit out the gray in his beard.
I mean, I do it all. I do the show. I do the editing. I do the thumbnails. I
did
mean,
all my
no one knows
editing.
that.
I did
Forget
all
about
the-
it. Anyway, carry on, Fergus.
but
Yeah,
my,
that's good.
my point is, do you find it a little bit ironic that the two iconic Arsenal fans that we think as Arsenal fans are Ian Wright, and then Kevin Campbell as us in our community, again, that we talk about the community that we've got and people who know what he's like, that Kevin was almost kept out of the club because of Ian just happened to, be that slightly better striker at that point in time. Like you can only have one number 9, and do you understand what I mean?
They did.
I mean, they were great together. I mean, Danny could probably answer this question a lot better than I can. I mean, the two of them together were sensational, and the two of them individually sensational. I mean, Kevin single-handedly has saved 2 clubs from Premier League relegation: Everton Football Club and West Bromwich Albion. And
he rescued Leighton he also had a lot to do with Leighton Orient getting promoted, I believe.
He did.
yes,
When he was on loan to them.
As legendary
and also,
as his presence is, I also think it's a little underrated sometimes. And I don't know what Danny thinks about that, but I mean, the dude is just phenomenal when it comes.
I always remember, and this is why I actually hold Kevin quite close to my heart, and it's a really obscure one, but my dad, as I've mentioned on previous occasions, passed away when I was 15, but I always remember growing up in sort of the late 90s. No, you're all good.
I didn't know that either. That's terrible.
Kevin Campbell was always his favourite striker for whatever reason, because I'm sure, and Kevin would always agree, I'm sure he would agree as well, like in terms of ability and stuff, he mightn't have been the top of the echelon that Arsenal had to offer, but it was always the desire and heart, I think, that Kevin showed, and the willingness to play for the badge, and the fact that you mentioned, Sophie, there, that he was an Arsenal fan as well. That sort of shone through in his performances too. So
Owen, I think this is where, and that's I mean, I don't think even Kevin knows that, and if he knew that would touch his heart. But like, I think that's why he's so hard on the players, because of he puts himself in that situation. He puts himself in. I would die again to wear that shirt.
Sophie, I'm really sorry to interrupt again, because I always do.
That's okay. I love that you guys.
I do this all the time, but
I just popped in to say hi, but it's the
no, and you know what? You changed the whole balance of it from being drunken Mike TV to a really good conversation, and I'm really enjoying it. But Kevin done something for a friend of ours, and I'm not going to name the friend. And one of his family members was really ill and had a very serious, possibly terminal illness. And when one of our friends contacted Kevin, Kevin went, "Yeah, all right, okay, I'll sort it." And he recorded a personal message and sent it to that person. And that's how he is. He's jumped on my podcast. He's jumped on all our podcasts. Never asked, nor has anybody, I'll add, no matter how well they're doing, has asked for a penny ever to come on. Everyone is just happy to do what we do. But Kevin does BT Sports. He does BN Sports and all this, and he gets paid his money that he does, which he's got to earn a living. We all have. But when he does this stuff for the community, again, Sophie, you just hit on a point and started the whole conversation. It's all about this community.
I'll share something. It's a bit personal, but I'll share it. And I woke up this morning. Sorry, it kind of chokes me up a little bit sometimes. I woke up this morning and I woke up to a message from Kevin thanking me. Like it was, and I was like, no, thank you. And he said, it was such a wonderful, like, I woke up and I got this message, and it was just so indicative of the man. And sometimes people don't see those things, and I'm grateful every single day that I get to talk football with him. I have so much gratitude for that. And I know it's such a special thing, and I don't take it for granted for 1 second at all. And I think there's moments where I love every show, and I think all the shows are great, and I think every show has a point of difference, and I love our point of difference and what we have to offer. But when you wake up in the morning and you've got a message from Super Kevin Campbell saying thank you for everything that you do, and I'm thinking, wow, thank you for everything you do. It just tells you a lot about him and his character and him as a human. And I think that sometimes people need to know that, because he's never, ever going to be the guy that says it out loud, you know? And you're right, Fergus, what he does for people, sending messages, and he does it within seconds. He'll do it like boom, in the blink of an eye. And it's...
Sophie, bow tie Thursday. If people know the story, they know the story.
Dickie bow. I love that story. Whenever I'm on with Kev on a Thursday, I wear a Dickie bow now. Not because I think it's funny, but because that story that he told.
He wears this Stars and Stripes. I think it's from Party City. Mike,
nothing but a Dickie bow, Sophie.
Mike's like
literally from
Rose out of the Titanic, where he's like, I'm gonna wear this and only this.
I bought that one day. I think we were doing Inside the Podcaster Studio. I bought that. I bought the pipe. The hat is actually my grandfather's hat, so that's actually a very serious thing. That hat that I wear when I'm trying to be silly.
Oh, and do you reckon he's used the pipe tonight?
I didn't bring the pipe with me. I brought the bell with me, but I didn't bring the pipe with me. Danny, do you get wonderful emails in the morning from Rami Shaban thanking you for having him on the pod?
Tends to be cheese. I get a parcel from DHL. From Svenska, I know it's cheese from Rami. Can I go and cover a couple of quick things? The reason why Kevin Campbell...
I wanted to bring you back in.
Oh, yeah, but the reason why Kevin Campbell left is because George Graham fucked up. George Graham bought John Hartson, a big man, in January '95, and he thought he'd be a better player than Big Kev was. Kev left that summer. And it turns out that Hartson scored 17 goals in 3 seasons. Kev would get more than that in a season. So it was just desperation from George Graham to try and mix up the big man, little man. But like Sophie was implying, the combination those two had, you look at the 3 seasons they played together, or 3.5 seasons, they scored over 100 goals between them. That was the magical combination, and that could have gone on for years. But I mean, when Bergkamp turned up, it might have changed. But I always felt very let down that he got that Welsh shitbag in and got rid of Kev. But going back to what that bloke who tweeted that what about the little podcast? I consider him a friend of mine. I've done many podcasts with him, and I reckon if he was here talking, he would say that it's very hard at the moment, like Fergus was saying, that it's very hard to get anywhere. But you look a couple of years ago, that when Elliot, Sophie, Kev, Tom, Harry, they're banging out content all day, every day of the week as a full-time job, and whether they won't ever get paid enough money for the number of hours they do. So I'd say to the bloke who did the tweet that these things will come. You have to keep doing it on and on and on. And you maybe 3 or 4 years, but in years to come, I expect to see Tom win another award. I expect to see Harry win an award. Lee and Dan probably will win an award. But what I would like to see is people that have won it.
I'm waiting for my award.
I'll do that too then, Fergus.
Only joking.
I thought to myself, this ignorant fuck hasn't muted his mic.
But I'd say, Fergus, you're still amongst the ones that are still working at it, going, well, do I do more? Still finding your feet, and that could take 3 or 4 years of doing that. But
Danny, you know where I am, and I spoke to a young lad today about
used car salesman in his
yeah, shush boy. Where I am is I spoke to a young lad about something different, choices in life, one business and one personal, this afternoon, and I said, you choose your future. And You're right. I'm at that point where I choose my future.
Yeah.
I still like it as a hobby. I don't want to engulf my life. My wife's far more important than doing a podcast, so I don't want to engulf my life. I enjoy it as a
She's
hobby.
sleeping.
Me
You don't
and
have to
Trev.
pretend anymore, Fergus. She's sleeping.
Yeah, I know she's asleep now. That's why the volume's gone up, hasn't it? I turned the telly off and everything. Yeah, she's asleep. She's gone, and
It's
anniversary's
important.
over, so I can do what I want.
But people have just got to carry on doing it. Like Scott, who's in the chat from the Red Cannon. The amount of hours that he spends setting up the shows, and we were meant to do a show, and then one of the people pulled out, and he said, "Well, I've already set up the template of one person there with an overlay and all that lot." And he said it took him 3 hours to do all that.
Scott's panel's amazing. Like I was so impressed with that. I went on with Gary the other day on Scott's panel, and I mean, like, I'm like,
Brilliant.
where did this come from? It's fantastic.
You lot all talk about you spend hours sorting it all out, like you were saying, Fergus. My lot, I say, turn up Wednesday. We don't write anything down. We plan nothing. We turn up, we record it, we don't edit it, and then whatever comes out in an hour and a half, much like this podcast, it's shit or bust.
Danny, everything that is produced is just like shit or bust, but I like to be a little bit more organised so I know where I'm going. So I just don't sit there going, what next? So I just need to know that I need to plan a journey. But, you know, yeah.
Like
there's
us.
a kid. There's a young man called Jake Feinberg, in he's my next host right here. He's got a show ready for Jake. Yeah.
He is now 18. He is a man not only
ready, right?
in the Jewish religion, but in the world.
I call shotgun on Jake.
But we'll loan him out to you because we know we know that he is adorable. I just want to say hi to Jake because I miss the guy. I haven't seen him for a week. I love him. He was.
If you loved him, you'd have brought him with you.
If I loved him, I would make him fail out of school. I don't think that's going to happen.
Dan, I just remember the final point that
Mike,
sorry, 1 second. I just remember the final point that I was going to make, that this community has to deal with when they do it, no matter whether they do it as a hobby or they do it as a full-time thing. And Robbie is one of the ones who gets it in the neck a huge amount, is the abuse that people get on social media, and people think that they can come along and call you and say to you what they want and with no consequence whatsoever. And I just think that's the other thing that people have to understand. When you put your face out there, that you have to be prepared and be resilient enough to take the shit that comes with it.
Oh, yeah.
That's me. I'm out.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for Soph, we're breaking into what is sadly a male-dominated place, and Sophie knows that with all of us lot and this group that we've got, there is no difference. And if someone in the chat was having a go at Sophie, we all know to let Sophie deal with it herself.
Yeah,
and I think that's the sign.
And sometimes
I'll tell you this,
really
I can swear by this, is the fact that if there's anybody in the Arsenal community that I am fearful of, and bear in mind that I'm somebody that has been raised in all forms of martial arts and self-defense, is Sophie. Sophie strikes fear of me above anybody.
You do not want to get Sophie shitless.
She's far more dangerous than the keyboard
It's that
warrior.
Greek temper. I've seen that fucking Greek temper.
Listen, I'm not afraid to stand up for myself. Listen, it's hard enough being a woman sometimes. I don't like to talk about this often, you guys, but it's hard also being a gay woman, and I don't wear that on my sleeve. I just get on with it. I don't complain.
There's so many times that you could bring that up during conversations, and you very, very rarely do.
And I'm only doing it tonight because I actually feel like that was my old saying, Fergus, by the way, when I did my old show back in the day. It's just like being down the pub with your mates. I feel like we're not even on air right now, and we're just talking as friends. And that's why I feel so comfortable to even bring that up.
Do you not think that even gains you a lot of outside respect as well, Sophie, though, that there's these little cherries that are easy to pick and throw into arguments, and you have the resilience not to do that, and do you not think that in a way buys you a lot of respect from the community, the fact that you don't pull out those easy arguments, the fact that you are so neutral at times?
And I don't mean any disrespect to women or anyone, but I don't pull the woman card and I don't pull the gay card. The only time I ever did it, and Mike was on the show with me, last week was the story of the Newcastle takeover, and that was the only time I've ever
you should go
said
back and
anything.
And I felt you could have done an hour on just talking about what was relevant to you, and I could see you wanted to say more, but you didn't. You just said a little bit and then left.
She was facilitating a conversation with myself, Kevin Campbell, and Warren Barton, and you
and Pirate. Don't forget the Pirate.
And Chris. That's right. I knew I was forgetting somebody. I'm sorry.
Easy done.
Yeah, but he's all the way tucked in Cornwall or whatever it is. Plymouth. So, but I mean, you were facilitating the conversation, but I knew that you had deep.
Yeah, I wanted to hear more
in that. And the second you started talking, I think I just said, "Please go now." Like, what do you think? And I nearly cried when you started talking about that, because I mean, it's.
You know, guys, I lost my parents for like a while because of it. You know, my parents come from a different generation. They're also Greek, and you know, growing up as a Generation Xer, it's different times now. And one of my proudest things, I think, is that I paved the way for my other first cousin, who's a millennial, and even his parents, my aunt and uncle, said, I don't think we would have been able to kind of come to terms with this without your story. And those are the things that matter to me the most. And I don't want to, like, I'm a private person, but I also think there comes a time where sharing a little bit of yourself, because so many of our listeners share stuff with us, you know, and that for me was a compelling story. And that's why I went there. But I went there for a reason, because I know how hard it is, even within my own story, let alone people that have much tougher circumstances than I grew up in, to deal with that, you know. So
listen, I'm sure most of us on here will think, like, I turned 50 this year, and you know.
Me too, Fergus.
I moved to London in '88, and to think of gay people.
Me too, Fergus.
I know you did, but they kicked you out. They let me stay. To think of gay people back in '88 to the way gay people are now, and please correct me if I overstep. So I'm not trying to offend in any way. But they were unusual, for the want of a better word, then, where now people accept people for being what they are now. And I think that's much better. You know, I think we got far more bigger issues with the way people... Oh, this is going to get too bloody
Fergus,
deep.
it still
You
happens
bring
here.
us on,
It still happens
Fergus.
in the United States, where I live too. It's not just other parts of the world. We're dealing with it left, right, and centre. Sorry, you, Owen.
Oh no, you're good. And
Ewan,
it's just
that's Ewan's, but
no,
Ewan
it's simply
works.
it's simply just to
I was
bring
going to
it
say
back on.
I was going to say you something, but you know.
Fergus,
I know you.
Fergus uses a certain language there that I think is very familiar and very relatable to now, and it's the argument that we had with not an argument, but a quite a civilized debate with Gav from She War and multiple other people. And I think to bring it back to Arsenal, Fergus, you said that it was quite weird back then in the 80s, referring to the gay culture, and to relate that now. And I know this is a really strange tangent, maybe, but to bring it back to Arsenal, and we talk about the globalization of Arsenal Football Club and the fact that match day fans, some of which look down at the global fan, the American fan, the Indian fan, anywhere in the world. And I think that just because you're
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, just because you're a traditionalist and you look at something, we did it this way then, doesn't mean that that's the way it has to be forever, and it isn't the best way forever. And I think that, like as you say there, with times moving the way they have, that maybe that people just need to not be so nailed on to their stupid sort of Stone Age views and open their mind to the process of change. And I know,
you know what, Owen, I think I'm quite lucky that I moved on with my Stone Age, not the like the Stone Age.
well, you moved from Ireland to London in 1988. So there's very few men that made the pilgrimage over to England in 1988 from Ireland without doing some sort of dodgy stuff. So you've got a bit of a history.
I moved to Ireland, to England, into London in the middle of the IRA crisis, and let's not get into the politics and everything else. But it wasn't a pleasant teenage life. That's all I can say. I come a cropper a few times, but also moving from Ireland in 1988 was like moving to England. That would have been probably just post-war, because Ireland at that point was many, many years behind. You consider England got colour TV in 1929. Ireland got TV. No, never mind colour TV. Got TV in 1961. So you look at the cultures I moved from. It's probably like somebody moving from somewhere in Africa today, moving to London or Europe. But I think I'm lucky enough to have lost some of those sort of pre-indoctrinated views that you had from the generation and everything else. And even when you talk about the fans, I'm fine with foreign and tourist fans and everything else. The only thing I cannot tolerate and will not tolerate is somebody standing there with an iPad recording everything in front of me. What's the flipping game? And the rest, if you want to get your half and half scarf, but not a Tottenham one, get your half and half scarf. You want to take it home as a souvenir, get your program, do everything you want, take your photos with Gunnosaurus, stand up if you hate Tottenham, even though you're playing West Brom, whatever you want, but don't put your iPad in front of me.
I don't know. I had to deal about 6 hours ago with watching some 11-year-old kid in a Liverpool jersey in the middle of the Watford end, just prancing around like he owned the place, celebrating every single goal and cheering in front of all the Watford supporters. And because he was a kid, he was about 10 or 11. So because he was a kid, everyone let him be. But I wanted to
punch a kid.
See, enabling.
Sorry.
We're just enabling our kids these days, aren't we?
Can I just say,
his dad just sat there like a...
Two seconds before we go forward, bring up Big Steve's comment about half and half scarves. I have no issue with Steve having a half and half scarf. The problem I've got with Steve having a half and half scarf is his much more vast body than he's got right now, because he's lost loads of weight.
He's lost all the weight that I gained.
Yeah, he has.
He gave it to
he's
me,
topless,
but it's
and he's exposing his nipples. So yeah, no.
And before I pass over to Mike to finish the show, can I just say to this dude?
Passover? Is that what we're going? Is that what we're doing?
Passover.
Sorry,
Mike. Sorry, that's just insensitive.
Sorry.
Yeah, but Skull to this
before
guy.
I handed the potato over to Owen.
Yeah, potato. You make Irish jokes all the time about me, Michael.
So good.
Right. Let's end this. I need to go to bed. I've got the snooker final in Belfast tomorrow between the Wizard, John Higgins, and the Pistol.
Not just
apparently I've got a divorce lawyer appointment at 9:30.
John Higgins.
No, he's actually not. No, he's not the Scottish John Higgins, but Alex Higgins.
I used to love watching Alex Higgins.
Alex Higgins is the middle photograph on my wall back there. Like,
oh my god, I used to love watching him play.
Higgins is the man that works for Fergus, bringing him his tea in the morning.
Sunday afternoons on the BBC, snooker, Alex Higgins. Oh my god, so good. Yeah. So good.
15 cigarettes at once.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna wrap up. I want to say a special thanks to Michael, who just joined the open mic. We're wrapping up, so we're unable to bring you on.
I'm putting my glasses on upside down just for
Dennis Taylor showing off because it's his 20th year anniversary.
Dennis Taylor.
I'm only 10 years behind you, Fergus, on the anniversary front.
These random,
I'm delighted. I'm a romantic, so I love it.
These random podcasts start out usually like absolute diabolical, whatever it was that we were doing. If you watch from the beginning of this podcast, you won't
fast forward to at least 35 minutes.
I've literally sobered up from being pissed drunk.
I'm sitting outside. I almost got arrested.
It cracks me up.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it became very serious, and I'll even go on the opposite side, and I'll put myself in devil's advocate situation and say, you know what? Maybe it even sounded a little bit self-aggrandizing as a group, but we're just saying that stuff because we love each other and we appreciate each other, and I just.
But none of it's possible
No.
without all these people in chat. Like, it's
Well,
all about
especially-
them too.
especially
That's
No,
always
it's not,
the
not
mantra
about
of
them.
our
You
show.
know what it's all about, Sophie? It's about Owen, you, me, and Danny. As soon as
It's all about
Mike
us.
disappeared in the dark and had to go off camera, it all started. And then
I
he
mean,
jumped
the yellow
on the
shirt.
having a
When he
serious, good
When he put the
conversation.
yellow shirt on in the dark, because at first when I tuned in, I'm like, is that Mike? I can't see him. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, I went off and I came back and he was wearing
That's
the yellow
when he was
shirt.
up Freddie Starr's
This was
rectum,
the shirt
wasn't
I was
it? Or
wearing the whole
something like that?
time.
That's
I
amazing.
didn't do a costume change. You think maybe the security guard came over because I was nude in the middle of Highbury, but thank you to the chat for joining us. Thank you for your contributions. One very special person in the chat, a man who came from my loins,
Nepotism.
Jacob,
Dear God.
Arnie from
Future
another
host
man
on the
that came
Highbury
from my
squad.
loins.
Future host
Arnie
of the
from-
Highbury squad.
Big Arnie Skull.
Got Tom from Tampa, Gulf Coast Gooners, Dublin Gooners, always in here supporting us.
Love
Thank you for
Dublin
that.
Gooner.
Yeah, love John, Mass Gunner, Arnie from
Everyone,
I think
Mars,
Iceland.
all of them. They're so cool. Brilliant
Moss,
people.
who I've met outside the stadium. I hope to do it again in the next couple days, maybe.
Arnie from
come find
Iceland
me.
is always a good shout.
Arnie from Iceland, Jake from Virginia, Arsenal Fan Circle channel. That's fantastic. Thanks,
Mike, we've got to do the Fokker
will be there.
t-shirts. A combo
what?
between the Fokker t-shirts that Dublin Gooner came up. Remember soccer, football? We combined them that day on your show with Owen. Fokker.
Was he drunk?
Dublin Gooner may have been drunk, but all of a sudden we were talking about like football
Fokker's-
and soccer and why, and then he was like, "Why? Let's just call it Fokker." And I'm like, "Dear God, that's a t-shirt. Let's make it." I would wear
That
it
was
all
the
day
episode.
long.
That was the episode we uploaded to Pornhub.
Does Big Steve go into the fuckers sort of area because the half and half scarf or not? Do you reckon? Or?
I don't know.
I think.
know about
Do you want
that.
to know what, Mike? I'm gonna outro us, okay? Because I need to go to bed. But
Well,
what
I
I'll
was
say,
going to say you're the one. I'm trying
I'm
to
in
outro
control,
us.
Mike. Just sit back, shut the fuck up, and watch me do.
I've only
Shut
got
the
that much
fucker
left,
up.
so you got that
Shut the
off.
fuck up, yeah. Thanks, Mike. No.
Don't forget to do Guns and Yellow Bin 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. It's Meets Lee Judge's Fans TV.
Yeah, see, if I did something like that with the Jewish theme, I'd be cancelled within a fucking heartbeat. Right. So what I'm gonna say is normally we play out with our epic
Oh my God.
outro, but what I will do is obviously paying homage to the wonderful Magic Mike himself and the award that we picked up at the FCAs for Gooners Free Cancer with the Best Charitable Campaign Award. I'm gonna play us out with an array of fantastic, recognizable podcasts and Arsenal names.
Just for the record, I fucked you up, didn't I?
You did fuck me up entirely, Fergus. Naturally, the south of Ireland once again lets the north get fucked up. So here we go. We're going to outro with this absolutely fantastic video made by a bunch of fantastic people. So we'll catch you next time. And always,
You were.
up the Arsenal.
Kali Nichta.
Hey Gooners, this is Alan Smith.
This is Kevin Campbell.
Lee Dixon.
Colin Lewin.
This is Gary Lewin.
Charles Watts.
Dan Potts.
James Benge.
Stanley.
Tom from the Gooner Talk here.
Ryan Orecastle. Simon Collins. You may know me from the Evening Standard.
You may know me for my time at Arsenal.
You may know me from Arsenal or even the Highbury squad.
I'm a Birdcat Wonderland.
Being that physio sat on the bench next to Arsene with my rubber gloves on.
The former Arsenal physio.
The Emirates press box, from writing, from Twitter.
From goal.com, from Twitter, from YouTube.
Football is the beautiful game and it brings us all together.
Sometimes there are things even more important than wins and losses.
And yes, even transfers.
Every 30 seconds, someone in this world gets diagnosed with blood cancer.
The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society works towards curing blood cancers
And provides support to families currently dealing with these diseases.
Gooners vs Cancer was started in 2017.
by a lifelong Gooner who lost his father to leukemia way too young.
Over the last 5 years, Gooners v Cancer has raised over $50,000 for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
And we need your help to match that in 2021.
Every donation helps.
Every donation helps.
Every donation helps.
Every donation helps.
No matter the size.
And every donation enters you into the Gooner raffle,
where you have a great chance to win amazing Arsenal prizes,
including game tickets, stadium tours,
signed men and women's shirts,
and maybe a retro signed shirt by yours truly, Lee Dixon.
Me, yours truly.
Yours truly, Super Kev Campbell.
So much more.
It's easy to take part.
Just go to www.goonersvcancer.com
and donate directly to the charity.
Pick the raffle prizes you want to enter to win,
and wait for the drawings at the end of the campaign.
Again, that's www.goonersversuscancer.com.
We all know that victory grows out of harmony.
Victory grows out of harmony.
Victory grows out of harmony.
With your help, we'll be victorious against blood cancer once and for all.